Straight cash, homie.
Would you please break a damn story?
He took it out.
Oh, for you.
It's a Friday edition of PFT OT. This is a little extra show that we do after PFT Live to talk about things that we didn't get to. And today, the topic that I want to address is a fairly serious one as it relates to the overall health and well-being of NFL players, specifically Trent Williams. We assume that players who are playing for NFL teams have access to the highest quality medical care around, and sometimes issues happen. Now, this is all based upon the contentions made by Trent Williams, but this is a far cry from the Jalen Ramsey embellished and/or fabricated back injury, because we know that Trent Williams had some sort of a growth removed from his head earlier this year. And Trent Williams, who is finally back with Washington after an extended holdout, met with reporters on Thursday, and he made it clear that this was truly a serious condition. It was cancerous. Previous reports had indicated it was a benign growth. It was a cancerous growth. He goes back for checkups every 6 months. He was scared about where this could lead. And he was troubled by the fact that the team or the team doctors had seen it, had known about it, and had downplayed it for an extended period of time, dating back to Mike Shanahan's tenure as coach of the team. That's how long, according to Williams, this tumor had been slowly growing and finally got to the point where he had it removed. I was under the impression that it was something that just popped up last year and that he was upset with team doctors because they encouraged him and cleared him to play despite the tumor that was on, ultimately, his skull. If it's true that it was there for 5 or 6 years, that's a serious, serious problem. And it really makes you wonder what these doctors are doing, if this is true. And look, maybe it's not, maybe it is, we'll find out. And one of the reasons that we're going to find out is because after months of silence on the subject, even though there were plenty of reports that made it clear that there was some sort of a concern from Trent Williams about that growth that was removed from his skull, the team finally broke its silence. And the team issued a statement on Thursday that says that we've requested the NFL's Management Council to convene a joint committee with the NFL Players Association to review the medical records and medical care given to Trent Williams. We've requested this review under the NFL's collective bargaining agreement that provides for an independent third-party review of any NFL player's medical care. We continue to prioritize health and well-being of our players and staff due to healthcare and privacy regulations. We're unable to comment further at this time. Okay, fine. Why is that the statement in response to Trent Williams telling a very compelling story about the tumor that was removed from his skull that was cancerous, that was there for 5 or 6 years? Now, even though the statement doesn't go there, someone from the organization told J.P. Finley of NBC Sports Washington that the team believes the results of the review will look different than Williams' version of the events. And I don't see a whole lot of middle ground here. Either he had cancer or he didn't. Either the tumor was there for an extended period of time or it wasn't. And I don't know why we would doubt Trent Williams' version of the events, because look, he was sufficiently upset that he stayed away from the team as long as he thought he possibly could. And now he's back, but he's not practicing. He's not going to play this weekend. He had discomfort when he put a helmet on, and of course, he had passed his physical and then failed the physical when it was time to go to practice because he had pain and discomfort from putting a helmet on the spot where the tumor was removed. I mean, this is a serious situation. And I feel like Washington has opted to treat him like any other player and play hardball with him and not try to make it right. You know, regardless of whether or not the ultimate review that's conducted under the collective bargaining agreement looks different from the version of the events that was shared by Trent Williams, it's clear that something serious has gone on here. And you'd like to think that the football team at some point would try to mend fences with the player because he's upset about something. And look, he can either be reasonably upset or unreasonably upset, but he's upset. And when you have a valued employee in any organization who's upset, job number one is to find out why the employee is upset and then to fix it. And in some ways, it's actually easier to fix it if the person is unreasonably upset, because then it's just a matter of getting that person to listen to reason. And if you can persuade the employee that their perception is incorrect, that no offense was intended, that there really wasn't a mistake, that it really wasn't clear, it was a misunderstanding, whatever, then you put it to bed and you move on. If the person is reasonably upset, then you rectify it. What do you want? What is it? And when I used to practice law and I would do employee investigations and there would be complaints made about misconduct in the workplace, one of the key questions for the employee who made the complaint is, what would make you happy? Right? There's all sorts of different ways to make someone happy. What would have made Trent Williams happy? And by all indications, there was no effort to try to make him happy, to try to make him not upset over what happened. So, look, I don't buy any of this from the team's perspective, especially because of the team it's coming from. As Big Cat always says, dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. So I'm going to assume this is just more dysfunction coming from the Washington franchise. From Trent Williams' perspective, it's clear that he had surgery to remove something from his head. And again, I don't know what the middle ground is going to be between the story he told on Thursday and what the team is now requesting, an independent medical review of the records. So I'm going to continue to be very skeptical of the team's position here, and I hope there is full transparency, and I hope there's no questions about a cover-up, because trust me, even though we become aware of cover-ups in political issues that come up, private business, there's cover-ups all the time. People are trying to protect themselves all the time, and documents go missing all the time. So I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but we'll just keep an eye on how things play out for Trent Williams and the Washington franchise as this very serious issue unrelated to football plays out in the coming days, weeks, and months. That's it for today's PFT OT. I'm going to do a PFT PM podcast later today where I will answer any and all questions that I can within the hour or so that I set aside to do it. We will have updates all weekend long at profootballtalk.com, and we look forward to resuming PFT Live on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you back here real soon.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.